I now want to go to Dave Bossie. Dave, you got a brilliant piece up. We had Monica Crowley on yesterday to talk a little bit about this, but then I saw your piece. I think it was in Newsweek that I saw it, or the Washington Times. I've heard one of these two. I want to talk about that. But first, give me your sense. We now know from stories breaking in Newsweek, Dave, and others, that it looks like the Justice Department is throwing Christopher Wray under the bus, and the senior leaders of the FBI. They're saying, hey, we had nothing to do with this. This was totally the FBI. They thought they were just doing a normal course of business search for documents. They had no earthly idea this would blow up. One, and this is on the Newsweek article, with unnamed sources at Justice Department that were authorized to talk to Newsweek about the story. Dave, you're an old Washington hand. Is somebody running something up the flagpole quickly to make sure they're not taking blame for this?
Well, yeah, you can believe that, Steve. But let's just start from the beginning here. First of all, I served as the chief investigator for Congress back in the 90s when we were investigating from the beginning, from Whitewater, from Bill Clinton, all the way through the impeachment. And I served in that capacity and learned exactly what these people were capable of, whether it was the FBI, whether it was the Department of Justice under then Janet Reno. This action was not taken by Christopher Wray by himself. There is no way that he did that. Christopher Wray must answer, and he must answer immediately. He must resign, and I believe he should resign immediately without question. And Merrick Garland.
Hold, slow down. Are you saying you don't believe with the leak story? You don't believe the leak story? You think Justice Department's leaking a story that they're lying to try to put it all on Christopher Wray? I just want to make sure I get where Bossie's coming from, because you're one of the smartest guys in D.C. about this. You think the Justice Department is lying? Okay, go ahead.
I've seen this act before, Steve. So have you. These people are inside the Department of Justice. This is an insidious operation to hunt and destroy Donald Trump. Period. End of story. They will do. It has been proven for 6 years. We don't need to see anymore. They will do whatever it takes to not. Oh, this is what it's about. It's about him not being able to run for president. They want to, through their means, take away 75 million votes. They want to stop the 50% of the American people who supported Donald Trump in 2020, and he is obviously the presumed nominee in 2024. This is the only way they feel they can stop him. That's my belief and opinion, and I can tell you, having been around the block a few times, I think that there's some credibility to it. So Christopher Wray must go. Merrick Garland must get before a House or Senate Judiciary Committee immediately, this afternoon, tomorrow, without delay, and explain exactly how this happened and whether he signed off on it or not. And I don't believe that there is a judge in America that would have approved this type of search warrant without the Attorney General's approval. If that happens, that's a whole series of other questions.
Okay, but hang on for a second. Hold on. If you don't believe the leak, and they're very specific, these unnamed sources who Newsweek says are senior Justice Department officials that are authorized to speak to Newsweek for this story, okay? They're saying they had nothing. This was all at the FBI, and they thought it was a normal course of business, and FBI was doing it, and they really didn't know anything about it. If you're saying that's a lie, and they're just trying to shove Chris Wray under the bus, and you're demanding that Chris Wray resign immediately and Merrick Garland go to the Hill to explain himself, aren't you essentially saying after Garland explains himself under oath, he should resign also? Because you don't buy the fact that Merrick Garland didn't know about this and at least okay it. And you're saying even the magistrate judge, although they didn't go to the federal judge running the case, they went to Florida to a magistrate, a federal magistrate, but still just a magistrate judge. You're saying that guy would have never approved it unless he knew it had DOJ authorization, not just FBI?
What judge in America, in this political atmosphere that we are in, is going to sign off on because some jamoke FBI agent rolls in and says, hey, we're going to raid the former president's house at Mar-a-Lago, by the way, while he's in New Jersey at Bedminster. Okay, we're not communicating with his lawyers. We haven't asked. No, judges, that would be a reach for a federal judge to do that. Now, could it have happened that some judge woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to do this to get Donald Trump, and I believe the FBI? It begs credulity. It begs credulity. Let me just say this. Merrick Garland, you need to answer for this. And if it is true that Christopher Wray was run amok, that the FBI was run amok, then you should be impeached because you are not managing that department. And Kevin McCarthy and McConnell need to be presenting facts and evidence now to prepare for January to move against Merrick Garland. We cannot have a Justice Department that is run amok. It is antithetical to what we are as Americans, and we cannot have this.
Look, I want to make sure everybody understands something. Bossie and I go way back. We're very close personally and professionally. People know Dave as head of Citizens United. They know him as a great filmmaker. They also know him as deputy campaign manager on the winning campaign in 2016. I just want to make sure people know your bona fides when it comes to investigations. Just give us quickly your curriculum vitae of what you know, because you're at the highest levels running these investigations. You dealt with the FBI and DOJ on literally a daily basis at the Attorney General and the head of the FBI level. Just tell the audience what's your background in this.
Well, when the Whitewater Committee, special committee was created in the United States Senate in 1995, I was brought in by former senator, United States Senator from North Carolina, Locke Faircloth, to work with Al D'Amato, the chairman of the committee, and Orrin Hatch, and an incredible group of U.S. senators. And we went up against Paul Sarbanes, who was the ranking member, but Richard Benvenisti, and an incredible cast of really dedicated partisans on the other side that we were investigating Bill Clinton. And what we did throughout that was create criminal referrals on a host of Clinton administration officials, including Webster Hubbell. We investigated the Vince Foster death. We covered everything in the first couple of years, 95 and 96. And then Newt Gingrich, who was then Speaker of the House, saw what I was doing. And Dan Burton was chairman of the Committee on Government Reform and Oversight, the main investigative body, and they brought me over, and I became chief investigator for that. And I led all of the investigations onward. Okay. And so
hang over a second. I just want to make sure people understand something. You dealt in one of the most controversial investigations in American history that led to an impeachment of a president. He was not removed from office, but led to an impeachment of the president, the first since the Civil War. And people forget, it's not like now, but man, it was contentious, and particularly given where the country was, it was contentious all get out. Dave Bossie, before I let you go, my question to you is, would you have ever, even back then as partisan as it was, have you ever seen the Justice Department and the FBI as out of control and weaponized as a political weapon in your life, sir?
Not to this extent. We did see Janet Reno and her Justice Department throw their bodies in the doorway of justice to stop us. But that was to protect their president, Bill Clinton. That is different than weaponizing, okay, and militarizing this Justice Department and this and this Federal Bureau of Investigation. There must be accountability. Joe Biden must answer questions. If he's capable, he must answer questions of whether or not he knew about it. And I know the White House is saying they are done. They are not to be believed, okay? They are not to be believed. It must be proven. It must be proven that they didn't know, because there's no way you would raid the former president's home at Mar-a-Lago, in my opinion, without Merrick Garland's approval and Joe Biden's personal sign-off.
Wow. Bossie, how do people follow you? We're going to get you back on tomorrow, the next day. When we get you up on camera and see that lovely visage. What's the social media? How do people follow you? Because it's pretty explosive. Bossie saying that.
Yeah,
you're saying Joe Biden's got to answer and make. Go ahead, sir.
Go, David _Bossie at both Getter and Twitter, at Dave Bossie on Truth Social, and you can go read that Washington Times piece that you mentioned, where I compare Joe Biden to Richard Nixon, and I believe there's a lot of similarities there. People really need to look at.
We'll get you back on here and talk about it. Dave Bossie, thank you very much.